There's been this big controversy, unless you don't watch sports or don't care about the national anthem or any of that nonsense that Trump has been trying to shove down people's throats about saying they're taking a knee. So that's apparently offensive because reasons. Roger Goodell at a news conference Wednesday said that the league wants all the players to stand for the national anthem. He said that at a news conference that the NFL's fall meetings that lasted about 20 minutes and almost every question that was related to the anthem and the players' protests. Goodell's main talking points was the NFL also will listen to its players and social issues and wants to be part of the solution. Now, of course, not everybody's in favor of this, especially, that orange monkey that we have, or Cheeto, or whatever the hell that thing is, in the White House. Now, he says, we believe everyone should stand for the anthem. It's an important part of our policy. It's also an important part of our game that we all take great pride in. It's also important for us to honor the flag and our country, and we think our fans expect us to do that. Okay, first off, this is a freedom of speech issue. And there's also the people that say you should stand for the flag because those people died for your rights, which would include you kneeling if you want to during the anthem. That is your First Amendment right. That's what these people can't seem to get over. I was reading the article here that someone was complaining that they have to stop watching the game and explain to their kid why these people are taking a bow. Oh my gosh. Really? This is your big concern. Why are those players taking a knee, Daddy? Well, son, see, there's these black people out there, and they're tired of getting killed by cops for no reason. So these people who play football and try to entertain us while I scream and yell and throw my beer around, they're interrupting my game. So I can't do that now because I have to sit there and explain it to you. Tony, your thoughts?
I think this is getting way blown over. I've said this before when we've talked about this on the show. Patriotism should not be mandated. I mean, we saw that in communist Russia, and that didn't turn out very well for the Russian people. Mm-hmm. And this idea that kneeling is disrespecting the flag, what do you think military people do when they honor the widows of fallen soldiers? They kneel and give an American flag to the widow.
Yes, they do.
So this idea that kneeling before a flag is disrespecting it is just 100% not true. And quite frankly, to any conservative that may watch this particular show, the Supreme Court has ruled on this, and the Supreme Court has made it very clear that no one, not even elementary school kids, have to stand for the pledge.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, there was, in an unrelated story, I think it was down in Mississippi. I could be wrong on the state, but I think it was Mississippi. Or it was Arkansas, one of the two redneck states down there, where they were told that if the kids don't stand for the flag or the Pledge of Allegiance or whatever, which is kind of related to it, they would basically have them suspended or expelled from school for doing so. Yeah, that's their right also. Just because you're a public school, and the key word there is public, doesn't mean that you can enforce that to say you have to do this thing. Now, public schools get a lot of crap that they're institutionalized thinking, think this one thing, and saying, hey, you have to stand for attention for the Pledge of Allegiance or for the anthem. It's the same thing.
Just for a quick to that story, kids should not be pledging allegiance to anything as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. I completely agree. Matt, your thoughts?
Well, I disagree with that, but,
What is it that you disagree about?
I believe that people should stand for the national anthem.
Okay, why?
Well, basically what everybody else is saying. It's disrespectful to our people who served our country and fought for our freedom.
Isn't it more disrespectful to not honor their sacrifice by having to be forced to do something? If they died for our freedoms, then our freedoms would include not standing for the national anthem, because a national anthem is just a song. It's not anything, really. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just a song that we say, okay, we're going to say that the song represents us.
Well, I mean, if that's what you think, but I don't think that way.
Oh, I understand. I'm gathering that, but I'm just trying to figure out why.
I've had relatives who served in World War II. Two of them were killed in World War II.
Okay. Wouldn't you want to say that those people died for those freedoms, right?
Right, exactly. I understand where you're coming from on it, but I just believe that you should stand for the national anthem in respect for the people who have fought and died for our country.
They are still respecting them. They're not disrespecting the people. It has nothing to do with the people who died. It has absolutely nothing to do with them. They died for people to be able to have a First Amendment right to protest, and this is exactly what they died for. If we are forced to stand, then their deaths are in vain, because then we become a dictatorship at that point, and then you're doing it because you have to, not because it's a choice. Like a number of years ago, back in the early 60s, 70s, there was a court decision about being able to burn the American flag. That's also your right. And the flag is also just a piece of cloth. We have the constitutional right to burn that flag, or constitutional right to not burn that flag. It's the same thing here. They have a constitutional right under the First Amendment to kneel, because part of that First Amendment is to peacefully protest, and that's exactly what they're doing. By saying that they should stand is taking away that right, and everything that those people in World War I and World War II died and fought for.
Okay.
But you understand where I'm coming from, don't you?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but it's just that, to me, I was brought up in a family where there were a lot of military people. A lot of people who started in the military, great uncles. I would be dishonoring them if I did not stand for the national anthem. That's just me. Now, other people might think differently. That's fine.
You have the right to think that. I mean,
but here's the thing, though. Okay. Statistically, with Colin Kaepernick, he's saying he was doing it because of how African Americans are being treated. I understand that. Mm-hmm. Okay, but nobody's doing anything about that. He's being looped into the problem. He's not trying to solve the problem.
Well, solving the problem takes time, unfortunately.
I understand that. If you don't do anything about it at all, the problem then nothing gets done.
You're right. You're absolutely right on that point. But I think the fact is, because we're talking about it, that brings it to the head, brings it to the top of our minds. I think that's exactly the whole point. If they go out to protest somewhere, they try to shut that down. They can't let them protest. They try to peacefully protest, and they tell them to shut down that too. I mean, where does it stop? Where do we start saying, okay, your right to protest is no more because we've taken away your First Amendment rights?
No, our First Amendment rights are already being taken away.
That well may be, but I mean, where do we draw the line? You know what I'm saying?
No, I understand.
This is an interesting topic. Maybe sometime for an okay, let's talk. Who knows? Because this was because this was definitely an interesting conversation right here.
Mm-hmm.